Mumonkan, case number 8, Keichu, the Wheelmaker. Main case. Getan Osho said, Keichu, the best wheelmaker in China, made the finest carts, the wheels of which had 100 spokes. Now suppose you took such a cart and removed the wheels, removed the axles, and removed the carriage. What would you have then? Mumon's comment: if anyone can directly master this topic, his eyes will be like a shooting star. His spirit will be like a flash of lightning. Mumon's verse: when the spiritual wheel turns, even the master fails to follow them. The spokes travel in all directions, north, south, east, west, up and down. So, I'd like to relate this story, this koan, to an Indian story which was told by one of my first Advaita teacher, Walter Keers. I knew him in the 1970s in Holland. The story he told was about a huge bonfire. And a man stands next to this fire and is responsible to add new logs of wood, as well as pushing the logs that are already burning towards the center. And to do so, he uses a large stick of wood. So, one log is burned after the other, and at the end of the evening, the fire consumes the last pieces of wood, till at last the man also throws the stick which had been used for the other logs into the center of the fire. The logs in this metaphor can be seen as a representation of what we wrongly identify with. When I say, for example, I sit, then the I is a representation of this body. But how long does this image of a sitting body last? It's only a few seconds. This false representation with a sitting body should be thrown into the fire. Another example, when I say I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, then the I is an activity of the senses. But how long does those last also? Few seconds again. Throw all of them, one after the other, into the fire. And when I say I think, then the I again is identified to the appearance or disappearance of thoughts. It's like bubbles in a pot of boiling water. How long does each thought last? Throw them one after the other into the fire. And when I say I feel, then again the I is the appearance and the disappearance of feelings like anger, joy, sadness. Here, they take a little longer than thoughts. Maybe now we're talking about minutes or hours. Still, they're temporary identification with what I am not, to be thrown again into the fire. Or when I say I'm a man or I'm a woman, I relates to my gender. But this again is a representation that lasts only so long. For example, when I eat tomato soup, where is that gender? Is it a man or a woman eating tomato soup? No, there is just tomato soup. Throw these identifications into the fire. Or when I say I'm politically right or politically left, or I belong to this religion or I belong to that religion, those again are opinions, and they also last only for a few moments. For example, when I run to the tram to catch the tram, where is the person politically right or left? Where is the person belonging to this or that religion? It's just not there. There's just a running person. And as a last example, when I say I'm a neighbor to so-and-so, or I'm the son of so-and-so, or the daughter, or I'm the father or mother of so-and-so, or the brother and sister, all that, we identify ourselves with a certain role. But when you act as a son, it is a very different act than when you act as a father. And it's again very different when you act like a neighbor. And all these roles are just following each other up one after the other. That's again not what I am. Throw all these roles again into the fire. The list can easily grow to hundreds of thousands of eyes. And when doing this exercise, all these false identifications about what I am not are being consumed by the fire. But what remains after they're being consumed is the ever-present background, and that then can begin to shine. That said, at the end of the evening comes that moment where the stick which was used to put all the other logs into the fires, where that stick also needs to be thrown in. The one who plays this netty game also needs to be thrown into the fire. The I who chants, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no etc. That one also needs to be thrown into the fire. The seeker, after all, is also a noisemaker and also needs to go. At first, one may get a little scared about reaching that still point. Thoughts may come up like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I do that. However, what really dies is just a bunch of thought constructs. And what is then allowed to shine is pure awareness, pure consciousness, Buddha nature. That, in fact, what we already are, always, altijd, immer, toujours. And when we taste this knowingly, we note that this is often accompanied by a sense of peace and happiness, a sense of joy. And when that is found out, There is nothing to be afraid anymore to put the stick into the fire, because it's a wonderful moment. Let us now return to our koan. I read it again. Getan Osho said, Keichu, the best wheelmaker in China, made the finest carts, the wheels of which had 100 spokes. Now, suppose you took such a cart and removed the wheels, the axles, and the carriage too. What would you have then? This koan now makes perfect sense, doesn't it? What remains is peace, happiness, pure awareness. Some call it absolute samadhi, others call it nirvikalpa samadhi. It's like the unlimited eternal sky containing all passing clouds. The still point. But whatever words we use can never completely capture it. We continue with Mumonkan's comment. If anyone can directly master this topic, his eyes will be like a shooting star, his spirit like a flash of lightning. Well, we just elaborated on the process of elimination. You may have followed it, but it would even be better if you had a real taste of being this empty vessel yourself. Being an empty vessel, for example, if you are a painter, there will be no more painter here and a painting there. Can you imagine how that would allow creativity to flow? Another example, being an empty vessel, if you're a mathematician, there will be no longer a person struggling here and the missing proof of a geometrical theorem there. Wouldn't that allow an unknown solution to the theorem to pop up? Other example, being an empty vessel, if you're a psychotherapist, for example, there will be no more therapist here and a patient there. So can you imagine again how that might facilitate the understanding and feeling one with the patient? I can go on and on. If you understand these matters, your eyes will indeed be like a shooting star, and your spirit will be like a flash of lightning. Mumonkan's verse. When the spiritual wheel turns, even the master fails to follow them. The spokes travel in all directions, north and south, east and west, and up and down. Yes, the objects and situations we encounter will continue to travel in all directions, that's true. But this whole carousel will be seen and transcended by the still point, by the empty vessel which you are. I will now end with the following related verse from the Tao Te Ching. 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Indeed, the Wheelmaker works with wood, but the center hole is empty, just like your body contains 70 or 80 kilos of flesh and blood. but the space of awareness is empty. It continues. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Indeed, the potter works with clay, but it's the center space, which is empty, that is being used. Just like, for example, your bubbling thoughts. Without space, where would that bubbling happen? Cut wooden doors and windows for a room. It is their opening which makes them useful. Same thing, the carpenter is very busy with wood and other materials to produce those windows and doors. But what we really use is the empty openings through which we can go in and out. Therefore, profit comes from what is there. Usefulness from what is not there. So that concludes our talk. If you have a moment after this video, please try to reenact the bonfire metaphor. Keep throwing one log after the other into the fire, and then, after a while, throw the major stick in it as well. And if fear comes up, throw that fear also into the fire as well. Just be the peace that remains. Thank you.